about Ramadan. They are not consecutive, but verse number 183 and 185. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. O believers, fasting has been prescribed for you as it has been prescribed for people before you, so that you may become God conscious. The month of Ramadan is the month in which Quran was revealed. Quran, which is a guidance for humankind and has clear proofs for the guidance and the criterion. So whoever of you sights the crescent on the first night of the month of Ramadan, he or she must observe fasting that month. And whoever is sick or traveling, he or she can make up for the missed days in the month of Ramadan. God wants to make this religion easy for you, not difficult. He is the most great, and start the month of Ramadan, of Shawwal, which is the next month after Ramadan, when you see the new moon, so that you can become grateful to your Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Siddiqui, for the recitation and for the reminder from the Holy Book of Quran. Assalamu alaikum, peace and greetings to all of you. On behalf of the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago, I welcome you to this interfaith Iftar. My name is Zulfi Khan. I'm one of the board members at the council and chairman of the Interfaith Committee. I will be your MC tonight. We are deeply honored by your presence and grateful to our partners at the Archdiocese of Chicago who make the time and make the effort to be with us tonight. Tonight is more than a gathering. It is a statement. It is a statement that in a time of division, we choose encounter. In a time of noise, we choose dialogue. And in a time of polarization, we choose dignity. During this holy month of Ramadan, when Muslims all across the globe, east to west, north to south, observe the holy month of Ramadan, we fast from dawn to dusk. However, our fasting is not abstaining from food or drink. It is also abstaining from our ego, anger, injustice, or anything that diminishes the sacred dignity of another human being. Fasting refines us. It gives us discipline, and it gives us compassion. Our theme tonight is respecting and upholding human dignity. When we talk about this topic, respecting and upholding human dignity, we speak to a conviction deeply rooted and shared within both Islamic and Catholic traditions, that every human being carries God-given honor, that every human dignity is not conditional, given by our government or a tribe or a group of people. Rather, it is inherent. It is foundational for us being humans. This conviction tonight gives us a responsibility to protect the vulnerable, responsibility to stand firm when dignity is threatened, and responsibility to stay strong and protect when innocent lives are at stake. And finally, responsibility to build bridges where fear starts to build walls. Together, we gather here tonight not as the representatives of the truth, but as the guardians of shared moral responsibility. I pray that this evening reflects not a conversation only, but a commitment. I pray that this meeting is not a symbolism, rather a partnership which continues to grow. And our presence here tonight is for a purpose. With that, I'd like to move on to our esteemed speakers whose talk and speeches will make this evening impactful and powerful. I'm deeply honored by the presence of His Eminence, Cardinal Archbishop of Chicago, Cardinal Cupich. He does not need an introduction, so I will bypass that to save time. But I will say, Your Eminence, Cardinal Cupich, your leadership consistently reminds us that the faith must be expressed through justice, love, compassion, and respect for human dignity. Your presence here tonight reflects your commitment to our communities working together for a bigger good. I would request you to come up to the podium and say a few words.
Ramadan Mubarak. Good evening. It's good to be with you. Greetings of peace and joy. For it is a joy for me to be here, as I have been throughout the years that I have been the Archbishop, to break your daily fast during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. For 30 years, members of the Archdiocese have come together with this local Muslim community for an Iftar meal. And tonight I offer a special thanks to our host here at the Downtown Islamic Center. I know that there was some last-minute efforts to have this event organized here and to offer the warm welcome, so I deeply appreciate those efforts. It's good again to join the leadership of the CIO-GC in welcoming and including our board chair, Dr. Hamada, and Executive Director Mitchell. I extend my gratitude to all at the COGC who helped plan tonight, especially Rita Batul, Miriam Ray, and Sulfi Khan. Without their dedicated work, tonight's gathering would not become a reality. Coming together in fellowship, we enhance our mutual understanding of one another. We build trust, and more importantly, we build friendships, which I feel very strongly about. Perhaps no one knows us better than our featured speakers this evening, the members of the Catholic Muslim Women's Dialogue Group from Bridgeview. For almost 3 decades, women from St. Fabian's Parish and the Mosque Foundation have come together to build relationships for good. So I look forward to hearing more of their story, which can serve as a grassroots model for all of us. This year, we Catholics join you during our penitential season of Lent, when we are called to dedicate more time to prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. It is a way of showing our dependence on God and God's grace. We also commit ourselves in almsgiving to sharing our resources with those who are in need. Many have commented on the convergence between the Catholic season of Lent and the Muslim observance of Ramadan. To enhance our mutual understanding of one another and to know better our own faith, I invite us all to take some time throughout this holy season that we both celebrate to ponder what we share as a people of faith, what we share together. And as we heard, the theme of this year's Iftar, respecting and upholding human dignity, is something that's so very timely. In light of this theme, let me begin by again expressing my deep concern over the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza. I can only begin to understand the pain and the suffering this situation is bringing to the Muslim community here in Chicago. I express my deep condolences to those who have lost family members and friends in this ongoing conflict. They say that we're at peace, but there seems to be little peace going on now. May a way forward be found soon that respects and upholds the human dignity and the rights of all, especially those who are most vulnerable. Too many have been killed. Too many lives lost. Children have no future. We also have seen a dramatic withdrawal of American aid from countries that America many times prioritizes American wealth over the lives of hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world who suffer from curable diseases if only we would fund the treatments. Wars and regional conflicts waged throughout the world, leaving the most vulnerable without shelter, food, or even a place in which they can survive the cold winter. Added to these troubling developments is a reduction of U.S. support for projects to mitigate the harmful impact of climate change and God's created world. In all these cases, the root problem is simply the denial of the innate human dignity of each and every human person. Some other good is put ahead of the value of human life. When we see that what is most valuable is being ignored, we all need to speak up and say something. Speaking truth in this way is not popular, and some people just don't like us because we do it. But we're not here just to make people like us. It is often met with ridicule and severe pushbacks. That is why the virtue of courage is so important in this moment. We cannot be afraid to call out injustice when we see it. You know, from the very first moment that Pope Leo stepped out on the balcony of St. Peter's and greeted the world, he said these words, "Peace be with you." And as he noted in a speech to mark the 12th World Day of Prayer and Awareness of against human trafficking, he said, "These words are more than a salutation, peace be with you. They offer a path toward a renewed humanity. True peace begins with the recognition and the protection of the God-given dignity of every person." Pope Leo makes clear that when we don't recognize the humanity of our brothers and sisters, no matter their race, their culture, their creed, their background, their sex, their socioeconomic status, peace becomes impossible. Denying our shared dignity, the foundation of peaceful interactions, marginalizes people and creates injustice. Conflict and war begin when people are dehumanized. I have said it before, time and time again. When peoples are dehumanized by language, anything is possible. We must resist this impulse. And so let us believe as believers, as people of the book, continue to speak up for those who have no voice. As people of faith, let us continue to respect the human dignity of others. This witness, when done consistently and together and humbly, can really make a difference in our world. Thank you again to our host here at the Downtown Islamic Center, and for all of you who have come together. I really enjoy coming to be with you, seeing old friends time and again, but also enjoying your great food. Peace and blessings to you, my Muslim brothers and sisters, as you continue your Ramadan fast in these holy days. May the God of mercy and of all compassion continue to sustain you and all those whose rights are being denied in our times, and encourage each one of us to do our part to uphold and defend that dignity in all that we say and all that we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Eminence, Cardinal Supage, for your thoughts and reflections. Our next speaker also does not need an introduction. Dr. Muhammad Abdul Ghani Hamadi, Chairman of the CIUGC Board, is a well-known figure in Muslim community as well as other communities throughout the Chicagoland. One thing I can tell is Dr. Hamadi's leadership reflects a clear conviction, which I learned being on the board from him, that faith communities must engage beyond their walls. They must partner, build trust, and uphold the dignity for all. Tonight's gathering is a reflection of just that. I would request Dr. Hamadi to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Zulfi. Your Eminence, Cardinal Supage, respected clergy and faith leaders, distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you all. On behalf of the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago, I am deeply honored to welcome you to our annual Muslim Catholic Thought. First, I would like to thank again, just like the Cardinal mentioned, the Downtown Islamic Center for hosting us here on a short notice. Again, thank you very much, Brother Shahnawaz, for all your hard work. I also want to recognize a couple of people here, former chairs, that I'm walking after them, Dr. Zahir Sahlul and Brother Karim Harfan, for joining us. Your presence here tonight is not symbolic. It is substantive. It reflects a shared conviction that faith communities stand together in defense of something higher than politics, the sacred dignity of human person. Ramadan is a month of fasting, but fasting is not merely a discipline of the body. It is a refinement of the soul. It teaches restraints, awakens empathy, and reminds us that every human being carries a divine imprint. That is why tonight the theme is respecting and holding human dignity. It is urgent. In Islam, Quran tells us that God has honored the children of Adam. All of them. He did not say the rich or the powerful, all of them. All of humanity. Likewise, Catholic teaching affirms that the dignity of a human person is the foundation of justice and peace. We may speak in different theological languages, but we stand on common moral ground. And yet, we know that dignity is being tested in our time. Right here in Chicago and across the nation, immigrants, including children, have faced harsh treatment. Families have sometimes been torn apart, and loved ones held in ways that have sparked grief and protest from communities across our city. Across the nation, immigrant rights advocates have taken to the streets and public squares to call for humane treatment and fair process, seeking justice. A justice noted in the belief that every family, every child, every human being deserves compassion and respect. Far beyond our borders, as we continue to witness the devastating human consequences of the genocide in Gaza. The cries of mothers, fathers, and children remind us that war deepens dignity's wounds and lead to suffering across generations and across borders, as we see here in our community here in Chicago. We call on leaders everywhere to pursue paths that protect innocent life and uphold the dignity of all people. At universities across the United States, students have raised their voices in protest, seeking to express conscience and concerns for the genocide in Gaza. Authorities responded with disciplinary actions, arrests, or heightened crackdowns that have raised questions about free speech, academic freedom, and the space we provide our young people to engage morally with the world around them. Now, these situations are not just political challenges, they are moral tests. They call on us to unite in our commitment to human dignity. These realities may leave us discouraged, and they may make coexistence feel fragile. However, I want to share with you something that really reshaped my own understanding of what is possible. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Last summer, I went to my home country, Syria, after 15 years of absence. And I visited a town there called Malula. Now, who here, except for the Syrians, know the town of Malula? So the town of Malula is a place which is carved in mountains and known for preserving. It's the only place where Aramaic language, the language of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, is spoken. And it's one of the oldest Christian towns in the world. Yet for centuries, Muslim and Christians lived there side by side, sharing markets, protecting one another's house, and safeguarding each other's sacred spaces. You can go, this is from the church there. Keep going. And these are Arabic, in Arabic. That's one of the oldest churches there. So when I walked through Malula, I felt like walking through a living testimony of coexistence. Churches stood beside homes of Muslim families during times of hardship. Neighbors protected neighbors, not because they agreed on theology, but because they recognized one another's dignity. Dignity flourishes where fear is replaced with familiarity, where faith deepens humanity, when faith deepens humility instead of division, where differences are not a threat but a trust. If Malula, a small town, could preserve that spirit, here in Chicago we can definitely do that. Your Eminence, we're grateful for your presence as a witness to this shared moral vision. Our traditions compel us to stand for those who are vulnerable. Tonight, let it be a declaration that we refuse to let human dignity be conditioned, that we stand together when migrants are dehumanized, when civilians are slaughtered and starved in Gaza, Ukraine, or anywhere else, when young voices are silenced, that we will speak with moral clarity. May this gathering renew our partnership, may it deepen our friendship, and may we have a commitment to being guardians of human dignity in our city, in our country, and throughout the world. May God bless you all and bless this committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hamade. Always a learning experience to listen to you. Our next segment reflects something deeply important, a sustained relationship. And I'll begin with a short story. Back in 1998, March 19, 14 women of different faiths, ages, and nationalities came together as a group to learn about each other's faiths and customs. They soon realized that common threads ran strong among them, which include their family, faith, and communities. Most of all, they wanted to get together to do good and improve the lives of people around them. 28 years later, they are still learning, loving, and building relationships. This women-led group embodies dignity in practice, seeing one another beyond the stereotypes, learning each other's sacred traditions, building bonds across differences, and choosing love over suspicion. This particular group, St. Fabian and Mass Foundation Dialogue Group, which His Eminence Cardinal Supich also mentioned, a group of them are here tonight, and I would like Sister Paula Daly and your friends and your group to please come up and share your story with us.
First of all, thank you for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here. I'd like to introduce some of our sisters here. On Muslim side, we have Human Murad and Khalida Basti. And on the Catholic side, we have Vi Bosworth and Nancy Ocampo. There are usually 20 of us, but because of the location or whatever, they didn't come here. And we had hoped you would come to Bridgeview, and that's the southwest suburb. Maybe you've never been there. It's about 7,200 west and 9,100 south. And we've got the best food in the world. We have been together now for 28 years. And we are still going strong, learning and loving and building relationships and closing some gaps. In 2001, when we had 9/11, there was some mob action going down the street to destroy the mosque. The police surrounded the mosque. We called our Muslim sisters. We were very worried about them to see if anything was happening. And thank God they were safe. The next day, St. Fabian Parish put together a prayer service for both religions to come and listen to find out that those people who did 9/11 had nothing to do with the people that live in our neighborhood. And that's what the people who were complaining about. And the imam even sat on our Catholic altar. And I don't know if you've ever heard that before. We wanted to extend hospitality due to the hurt of all over the community. We wanted to show our neighbors that these people were not terrorists, and to stand together to show we live in peace. The next day, I left. I'm the Ministry of Care Director also at my parish. So we had a meeting and we left, and what do I see on the corner but tanks and soldiers? And I live across the street from Harlem in the Southfield area, and I had to show my ID to prove that I lived there, or they weren't going to let me in. So that's how they were trying to keep us safe. Now in 2002, each year, the Catholic Common Ground Initiative honors someone who has made a unique contribution to the achievement of common ground in the church. We became a model example, and in 2002, our St. Fabian community received the Joseph Cardinal Bernardine Award for helping our neighbors. In 2012, I had my first hip replacement, lucky me. And the Ramadan dinner was like that week, well actually 2 weeks later. I wasn't sure I was gonna make it. My husband put me in a wheelchair and off we went. And I prayed that I didn't have to get out of the chair. And I remember Huma pushing me. She pushed me up front. And that evening I was awarded a Friendship Award by the Mosque Foundation. for my dedication to this group, and it was quite an honor. So thank you. In 2015, we were invited to the Parliament of World Religions in Salt Lake City, Utah, by the Office of Interreligious Affairs to host a dialogue talk with our group. Karen Danielson on the Muslim side went with me, and we had a marvelous time, so thank you. And we met up with Dan and Michael, I believe he's out there. And we learned a lot, and the complex where the Salt Lake City complex is, it's absolutely massive. I had to rent an electric chair to run around in it. But we had a great time. We'll talk about that later because we have pictures to show you. In 2016, we became a model example to the Interfaith Office when we went to St. Albie's at 90th and Wester to show the women how to start a dialogue with their Muslim neighbors. I don't know if it's still going on. We don't know, I guess Dan could answer that question, but we tried. So these have been the best 28 years of my life. I have met some awesome women. I believe we are all God's children, and it is our duty to work towards peace by building bridges and to show others it is possible to live in harmony and respect each other's faiths through our love and our example. And now I believe Vi will start the slideshow. Oh, I'm sorry, you're up. Okay, we're there.
Thank you, Paula. In the name of God, the most gracious, most merciful, all praise belong to God, and His blessings and peace be upon all the messengers from Adam to Jesus and to Muhammad. Peace be upon them all. It is my honor and privilege to be here with you, and I'm supposed to share with you our meeting around how do we do our meetings. And so our meetings are held at Mosque Foundation and St. Fabian Alternate. So we go, each, and they are from August to May. And we begin with opening prayers from both sides. And we also have large variety of topics that we had discussed or issues that on our agenda over the many years that you have heard from Paula, including our respective holidays like Ramadan. We recently revisited that just last meeting, and Eid or Christmas or Easter, and also as well as the famous women of both traditions. We learned about awesome women from time of the Prophet or even before, and also in the contemporary women. Angels and all the, in both of our traditions, what is their role, how we believe in them. Difference of the different denominations of the Christianity, we learned about that. We also learned about the different schools of thoughts in Islam. We discussed how a new pope is elected last year. So that was an enlightening process that we learned. History of some world events is always part of our agenda, time and time again. And last year, we had dedicated 2 or 3 sessions for the history of genocide in Palestine. And our passionate AP history teacher, one of our members who couldn't be here today, she enlightens us with that. Service projects and preparations also are part of our meetings, which we do. You will see them, and Khalid will share the details about them. We serve shelter dinners, do crisis center, donations, or the nursing home visits. We also do scripture sharing, where we take turn presenting our own favorite passage or the verses from our scriptures and how it shaped us or transformed us or affected us and touched us. Current events are discussed in time, if time allows. In the middle, we have, we are treated with delicious food, and snacks and dessert. Whichever group is hosting, they bring the food. And we are honored to, or we are always ready to serve our close friends together. So we share, recipes, we do things together in that way. Ending prayers from both sides conclude the meeting, and minutes are taken and shared. So this is how our meetings end. Thank you very much.
quite a few years, we decided we needed to share what we do with the women in our community. So what we did is we organized dialogue dinners, 1 year at the Mass, 1 year at St. Fabian's. We did that for quite a few years, up until COVID. What we did was we invited women from everywhere to come. It was a potluck, everybody brought food, no pork, no gelatin. That was on the invitation. And we would have speakers who would come from both sides to speak. We had women at tables such as this, everybody brought something. And we had a wonderful time. And what we found is that everybody loved talking to each other because we wanted to share what we did with everybody else. As you see from the slides, we have all sorts of exciting and interesting things going on. We had dancers from the Mass side, back to school and Universal, and then we had Polish dancers from St. Fabian, the children who came and danced. The food was fabulous, the speakers were fabulous, we had a great time, and we continued this tradition, and we started with speakers, where we had speakers coming, and then we realized we ran out of time. The women always wanted to keep talking, and talking, and talking, and had so much to say to each other at the table, because they had just met each other, they had questions for each other. So as the years went by, what we started to do is cut down on the speakers and actually just let the women talk. Sometimes we presented them with questions that they would talk about. Sometimes we would just say, okay, discuss your lives, discuss what you do. It turned out to be a fabulous thing. As the years went on also, then we went from a dialogue dinner to dialogue teas, where our Muslim sisters would bring teas from their different traditions. And again, we'd invite all the women, they would converse, always so much to talk about, and they would explain how they make the different teas from the different places, and people brought food. There was always a lot of food. So in this way, we shared what we did with the women in our community, who then took it out to their families and their friends.
Thank you, Ryan. I guess I'm the tallest one here, I gotta keep doing this. The Parliament of World Religions began in 1883 during the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago to our present day. On October 15th to the 19th, 2015, I was invited to Salt Lake City, Utah to sponsor a dialogue talk with Karen Danielson. I believe Dan was in a room. Was there more than 50 people, Dan? I don't know. About maybe between 50 and 70 that showed up to listen to us, that were actually interested in starting their own dialogue and seeing how it went. There were over 10,000 global attendees at this thing from 73 countries and 30 religions. The Parliament is headquartered in Chicago and affiliated with the United Nations Department of Public Information. It moves around the world every 2 years. Its sole purpose is to cultivate harmony among the world's spiritual traditions to achieve peace for a just and sustainable world. And that picture there, I don't know what the Flat Stanley is doing there, but I guess he goes around and he makes trips, whoever teachers are in here. There we are. We were sitting and having maybe that's part of one of the projects we were at. But that was quite an experience. So thank you, Dan, for inviting us. Okay, who's up next?
Good evening. I'm going to share a little bit about how we do our service projects in our group. So over 28 years, St. Fabian Church and the Moss Foundation, we've stood shoulder to shoulder in soup kitchens and shelters. So here you'll see pictures of us with aprons on, chopping vegetables or laughing, praying in separate traditions, but we're serving the same people. In Islam, serving the needy is an act of worship. And from Christian values, it is taught to love your neighbor. So we have shared values and we put it into action. We have different places we've gone, Trinity Lutheran Church, St. Mark's, and basically we just ask the place, whoever's coordinating, what is needed for that evening. And we've built a system of shared responsibility where everyone has a role. Over the years, we've just divided the responsibilities so each person in our group can participate in a meaningful way. If someone can't serve that day, then they'll still contribute a dish. And if someone can't cook, they'll come maybe the night of and help serve. But at the end of the day, everybody has a role. Over the years, each of us has become known for something special. For example, Andrea is known for her mac and cheese, Dalila for her baked chicken. Others of us are good at bringing the fruits and desserts. So it's become more than a meal, it's become something we've built together. Interfaith collaboration isn't symbolic, it's very practical, it's sustained, it's grocery lists and dividing responsibilities. It's showing up even when it's cold and far away. But together we stand in the same kitchen, not to debate theology, but to feed someone who's hungry. Service reminds us of something simple. Before we are labels, we are human beings. And for 28 years, we've proven that shared humanity is not an idea, it's an action. And when we serve together, we build trust between each other that lasts beyond a single meal and long-lasting relationships. Thank you.
As for our shelter dinners, I don't cook, so I bring water and milk. So I'm just going to speak about some of the other things we did. Paula mentioned 9/11. Our parish bulletin had listed things that we had prayed for 9/11. We received a lovely letter from the imam at the mosque talking about our Muslim community and the Muslim faith of Islam not being responsible for 9/11 that we had published in our parish bulletin. It was a time that was scary for us, and it was a time that we all came together. We attend Iftar dinners. There's one from quite a few years ago that was in the summer at the Zakat Foundation. We get invited every year to different Iftars, sometimes at the homes of our Muslim sisters, and we go meet their families, sometimes in public, such as this. The Chicago Tribune reached out to us to talk about our group, and they published a lovely article about 25 years of positive connections. And some of the things we talk about in the article is how in doing this together and when we share our faith, we learn about our faith. I mean, we've learned so much. I've learned so much about my own faith because you have to share it with someone who may not know it, may need to learn about it also. Another thing the article mentioned was a lot of us are teachers. One of the teachers mentioned that the school she taught at had a lot of Muslim children, and being in the group allowed her to understand better what their communities are like, what their parents are like, when Ramadan happens, when they need to fast, how to deal with that. And I have one more thing. It's in my pocket. I didn't have a slide for it. At one of our meetings, Nancy had gone to a whistle put together party when Ice was here, and she brought whistles for all of us, along with an explanation of how to use them, and the explanations were in English and Spanish and Arabic.
So over these years, we grew in our friendship and become stronger. We celebrated births of our kids in some cases, and grandkids in many cases. Laughed together at happy occasions. We provided support and prayed at the loss of the loved ones, which we had many, and are also in sickness and injury, as Paula mentioned before. We hope you are inspired from our experience and are motivated to try it in your own neighborhood.
I don't know how old those babies are now, but they're probably grown.
They are. He's graduating from Universal School this year. Yeah, senior.
We always go to nursing homes too. There were some pictures up there from that, and we show them the tea, and we have a girl or a lady in our program who can do anything. She dances, she leads sing-alongs, and she plays the most oldest songs you could ever imagine. And they love it. They just love singing with us. So that's usually about 40 people in the nursing homes, and we do that at least 2 to 3 times a year. Is anything else?
I think we're done.
I think we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, sisters from St. Fabian and Moss Foundation, for sharing your story. The context, the background, the details, it's all truly inspirational. Thank you so much. Now it is my privilege to invite Sheikh Hassan Ali. He's well known around the city and across the country, engaging in interfaith dialogue, building bridges, and connecting through civic and moral responsibilities. Sheikh Hassan serves as a director of Humanitarian Faith Initiative at Med Global. He's also the founder and president of Qayyim Institute and has spent over 2 decades advancing education, social justice, and interfaith collaboration. A graduate of Al-Azhar University, a prestigious Islamic institution in Egypt, he is currently pursuing his PhD and also teaches at Lewis University. Sheikh Hassan Ali.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So let me begin by saying that for Sister Violet, like if all the talks of our sisters are like your talks, may God bless all of you, because this is the best talk that we can, come together and talk about and bring peace and understanding and respect to each other. So please give them another hand. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. Tonight we gather here not only as Muslims and Catholics, we gather as believers. We gather as human beings. And we gather in the sacred space between hunger and fulfillment at Iftar. Ramadan teaches us that hunger is not merely physical, it is moral. It awakens us to the hunger for justice, the hunger for mercy, the hunger for a world in which every human being is treated as sacred. 2 traditions, 1 truth. Human dignity is divine in origin. Dignity is not granted by governments, brothers and sisters. It is not earned by status. It is not determined by race, passport, or wealth. It is bestowed by God and God alone. If dignity comes from God, then to violate human dignity is not merely a social failure. It is a spiritual one. To sit with someone at the table is to say, I see you, I listen to you, I respect you, you matter to me, you are worthy of respect. In a world that profits from division, shared tables are acts of resilience. Through my visits and travels with Med Global humanitarian work, I have seen what happens when dignity is stripped away in war zones, refuge camps, and shattered communities. Yet even there, dignity remains. Because dignity is not erased by suffering, it is revealed in how we respond to it. When a Catholic sister runs a clinic in a conflict zone, when a Muslim doctor treats a patient without asking the religion in Darkush, Syria, when a church opens its doors for a Muslim pregnant sister in Pucha, outside Kiev, when a mosque and Muslim doctors stand with Mar Ilyas Church under attack in Damascus, that is dignity defended, that is faith alive. Ramadan teaches restraint, not only from food, but from arrogance. It disciplines the ego so that compassion can lead. And Catholic social teaching call us for preferential option for poor. a moral commitment to stand with vulnerable. And do you see how moral vocabularies embrace each other between two religions? We are not gathered here to erase our differences. Our differences are real, meaningful, and beautiful. But dignity demands something higher than agreement. It demands respect. It demands protection. And it demands courage. Respecting dignity means speaking carefully about one another, just as we do, even when we disagree. Upholding dignity means defending the rights of others, even when they are not from our community. And protecting dignity means refusing to allow fear to define our relationships. And tonight in the Muslim Catholic Iftar, we are doing something powerful. We are declaring that faith is not a barrier to coexistence. It is the foundation of it. In both of our traditions, fasting is not about deprivation alone, it's about transformation in every day and every night. When we fast, we confront our dependence on God Almighty. We remember that we are not self-sufficient. We are creatures accountable and interconnected. And if we are interconnected, then the suffering of one community diminishes us all. Human dignity is upheld not only in grand speeches, but in daily decisions that we make in our homes, at our schools, and between us and our own selves. How we greet our neighbors, how we speak about immigrants, how we respond to violence done in the name of religion, how we teach our children about the other. The next generation is watching us. They're looking at us. They are asking, will faith divide us or will faith dignify us? My prayer, and I believe yours as well, is for everyone without any discrimination. We have Dr. Sahlul here, Brother Karim Irfan, and his respected wife. And we visited Kyiv, Ukraine, in the year 2023. And I remember we stood outside the capital. We stood there by a mass grave, looking at the numbers of the date of birth and the date of death, looking at children and grandchildren who were buried next to their fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers. And what we did is that we offered prayers from Muslims, from Christians, and from Jews. Because the same grave outside Kyiv is the same grave that we may see outside Gaza, here in Plainfield, Illinois, in Sudan, in Mexico, in Venezuela, and in every place in the world. These are graves of children. They deserve to live. They deserve to dream. They deserve to prepare their homework to get ready for another school day in the morning, just like your children and my children. Because dignity is not passive. It requires us to advocate, to serve, to listen, to repent when we have failed one another, and we have to admit it. We need repentance, all of us, simply because we failed one another. It requires humility, and humility is the heart of both Ramadan and Lent, seasons that so beautifully overlap this year and the past years. Two sacred calendars, one shared call. Return to what matters most. And what matters most is this. Every human being you encounter tonight, every person breaking bread beside you is a bearer of divine breath. And when we honor the breath, when we honor this divine breath, we honor God. When we defend that breath, we worship God. When we protect that breath, especially in the vulnerable, we reflect God. So let this not be just an evening of dialogue. It's always amazing to gather together, to break bread together, to see each other, to take some pictures. But this is not enough. It was never enough. Let it be a covenant. A covenant that Muslims and Catholics in this city and beyond will stand together whenever human dignity is threatened. A covenant that our own stages, whether in the churches or in the mosques or in the synagogues will preach compassion louder than politics. A covenant that our humanitarian efforts will be guided not by our politics, but by principles of our religions, the divine values that we all embrace. A covenant that when one community is wanted, the other shows up. Because dignity defended together becomes peace sustained together. As we prepare to break our fast every night and for Lent season, we have to reflect that there are millions tonight and tomorrow and yesterday who will not eat just like us. The children who will go to bed, even if they have bed, without food. Let our prayers remind us that there are millions who feel unseen, even among us here in the city of Chicago. Let our gathering remind us that we have the power, the responsibility, and the chance to change. May God make us guardians of human dignity. May He make our faith a bridge and not a wall. And may He bless this partnership between all of us. May He allow our shared witness to become high in a broken world. And may God bring peace and safety to the hearts and the homes of our neighbors here in Chicago and every and each state in America, to bring peace, to bring security to the hearts and the homes of people around the world, whether in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Colombia, in Mexico, in Sudan, in Yemen, in Kashmir, and in every corner of this earth. May God bless our gathering tonight and every night. Amen.
Thank you, Sheikh Hassan, for the powerful words. I hope and pray that we have heard you, we reflect, and we take action. My dear friends, family, and brothers and sisters, human dignity, our primary topic today, is not upheld in theory only. So it becomes stronger through conversation, encounter, reflection, and action. So let's shift from listening to engaging with each other. On your tables, there are two topics. There are prompts up there. We'll take 10 minutes and discuss those amongst each table. And due to lack of time, perhaps 1 to 2 table will come up and describe the consolidated views. So time starts now. Thank you.
First question: Islam and Christianity teach that every human is created by God with inherent dignity. How does this belief reinforce and guide our response to individuals and communities facing displacement, trauma, and grief? The second question is about how can our faiths come together, defining specific ways in our local communities to uphold and respect what we do. Oh, don't worry about it. About beliefs, they're about actions. Not tonight, I'm off duty.
You're the communications chair, director.
I think that whether it is between Muslims and Christians or between Muslims and any other faith fellows, I think every religion has a certain moral values. And one of the issues that I that across the board, whether Muslims, Christians, we don't adhere to those values as much as we should. Because those values guide us to solve these problems twice. So that's why here the Parliament of World Religions was mentioned again and again. So in 1993, when the Parliament met after 100 years, here in Summer House,
So one of the key outcome of that parliament was to create a global ethics document. And we approached many philosophers, Professor Hunstone and others, and that document was developed. That document is still, if you go on the website of the parliament, it is still there, and it has been updated. What that document calls for is that there has to be a set of certain values that we all agree. And then only it is possible to stand against an oppressor, against injustice. Otherwise, if our values are dominated by our politics, then we cannot go anywhere. So that's what I think.
I'm thinking of, did you ever hear of a guy named Father Ed Boyle, a Jesuit priest out in Los Angeles? He started up there called Boy Industries 28, 25 years ago. Works with mostly Latino and African American folks who are either in gang activity or adjacent, or their neighborhoods are around them. He's really good. He's really funny. But one of his most recent books, he's a good communicator, one of his recent books, was sticking with me. He was going through an airport, and he saw one of those t-shirts that was like Chicago versus everybody, or Los Angeles schools, like funny t-shirts trying to be funny. And he said, no, that's the opposite of Christianity. Nobody versus anybody. He said, that's the t-shirt. And I think that's what Sheikh Hassan's words there about, like, how do you change the vision people? Do you see them as those people, or do you see them as us? And that's been my, since I read the book like 2 months ago, that idea of nobody versus anybody has been like one of my starting points for thinking about humanity. How do we do this? How do we get out of the hole that the United States are in?
I know, but in generic terms, that's in generic terms, I think specifically Catholic, our teachings, I think however, and all of us are guilty of not doing stand up against justice.
Met my neighbors that have been here, and this situation kind of forces you, like, hey, this is what happened for years. So I think that's a silver lining that the situation doubling down on that is that we're having these conversations on immigration and polarizing issue. Definitely, not everyone feels comfortable
each other as brother and sister because we're coming to the same thing of saying we're brothers and sisters. So hearing them talking about each other, and they're really living in the system. That's wonderful. And not just using the system. It's easier to use the title than to do the actual brothering the system.
The contrasts were very clear, us versus Israel, them. But all the prophets, the prophets addressed all my people. And those people included everybody. those who were with the prophet, those who were against the prophet. So that is what the prophetic vision is, that there is no us versus them. It's all one humanity. So all the prophets in the Quran, when Quran talks about Moses went and he said, "Oh my people." Jesus said, "Oh my people." Muhammad said, "Oh my people." But whenever you see the dictators from the time of Pharaoh to this time,
Folks, hello.
they always talk
Assalamu alaikum.
us.
My apologies for interruption. I know I can see many of the tables are deep into the conversation and talk. However, we are running out of time, and there's a prayer coming up in just a short while. So we're going to wrap up this conversation and engagement with each other. We did have a plan to have some reflections, but unfortunately we will skip that as well. Make sure you guys have notes and we share with each other, particularly if there are any action items. So the final segment of tonight, which is inviting our dear Executive Director, Brother Abdullah Mitchell. I'm hoping that he will summarize everything and take us home with this wonderful event tonight. Brother Abdullah also doesn't need an introduction. However, just for the sake of formality, he is the Executive Director with the CIOGC, licensed attorney in the state of Illinois, and has more than 25 years of experience with non-profit organizations, both for governance as well as legal advisory capacities. He has served on numerous boards, and his leadership expertise in legal institution knowledge and deep commitment continues to help our community grow. Brother Abdullah Mitchell.
Assalamu alaikum, and peace be on each and every one of you today. You know, I feel in a very awkward position because, and I'm going to draw an analogy to, let's say, television. And really where I'm going with this is, how many of you have had that experience and they do such a good job in building up the expectation, and then right when you start to get to the heart of the matter, what? We cut the feet under you. You know, we have high hopes, and it's not going to be dictated by the amount of time we have this evening. It's going to be dictated by the amount of commitment. And we have witnesses at this table to show when you commit to this principle of living. Our faith leaders tonight taught us or reminded us of our obligation, but it is upon us to live those faith principles. If we fail to do that, then all we've had is an evening of pleasant conversation and good food. We, as a society, at this particular moment in time, cannot accept that as our course. We have so many challenges with us. We see people before our own eyes being dehumanized, degraded, families separated, but it's too much silence. What the Archdiocese and the Council of Islamic Organizations have been discussing, how do we move this process forward? It starts with these questions on the table. And also we have testimony from the daughters of Abraham, what you can do if we really make that commitment to make a difference in the lives of those who surround us. So we at the leadership have been struggling. How do we do this? What should be the steps? But the reality of it is we have to find mechanisms for us to come together at the mosque level, at the church level, because that's where the real energy is going to lie. We can dictate and say, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But we need the energy that's been tapped into you this evening to come together with us and build the society that we want our children and our grandchildren to inherit. If we fail to do this, we're just making the burden on them that much greater. As we see the institutions in our society slowly being torn down, our sense and compassion for the world being cut out, we must begin as people of faith, stand up, follow the examples that we've been given here this evening. There's many ways we can do that. So what I'm really saying to you is, please take heart. Take these questions and do what we failed to do or didn't have time to do. But it didn't take away from the importance of that work going forward. What I will share with you, we do have everyone who's registered. We, in consultation with Dan Olson in his office, will cultivate some ideas how we can bring us together. We could even ask Paula and your team, if y'all would come and share with these people. We want to share their stories so we see what we can do. The possibility, I'm telling you, is within our hands. It's in our grasp. All it takes is for us to take that step of faith and do it. So, on behalf of the Archdiocese of Chicago, on behalf of the Council of Islamic Organizations of Greater Chicago, I want to extend to each and every one of you, thank you. Thank you for being with us this evening. Thank you for sharing your ideas to the extent you had that possibility. And I'm prospectively thanking you that this spark that was created tonight will continue, and we will do all that we can to help this go further and build the society that our children and our children's children deserve. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Folks, believe it or not, that's a wrap. We will close out our evening. As Brother Abdullah mentioned, we are thankful, deeply thankful for all of you to come out here. I know some of you had a drive. I heard a group from Barrington was here. So really appreciative of your time and efforts. Dr. Ahmad, is there anything? Okay. So thank you so much again. Have a good night. God bless.